Uh,
So, should we not trust the Kansas City Chiefs receivers anymore? What really constitutes as roughing the passer? And which one of these two gentlemen down here will be ringing in the new year with a fantasy football league championship? Well, we're going to try to find the answers to those questions and many more as we get you ready for week 17 of the NFL and championship week for fantasy leagues. Well, most of them anyway, including ours. All coming up here on Fantasy Football Fever starting right now. And hello again, everyone. Welcome to Fantasy Football Fever. It is December 26th, 2023. Twas the day after Christmas. And we got a lot to talk about here. We had a fantasy championship in our league. And I know a lot of you have your leagues out there having championships. Some of you may be having your league championships next week. Look, we got you covered. We got all the good stuff right here. You know who I am. I am Tim McClelland. Joining me as always, the host of Hooked on Sports, Mr. John Flynn. How you doing, sir?
Hello, Timmy. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas.
All right, it was quite enjoyable for me. How was yours?
I mean, it was good, and then I happened to watch a lot of football over the weekend because we had lots of windows of exclusivity this week for the Christmas holiday. So
That's good. Also joining us is our league commissioner, Mr. John Natale.
Hello.
How was your Christmas?
Yeah, pretty good. Same as Flynn's. Watched a little bit of football. Had some good food, things of that nature.
Yeah, family, friends, food, football is a good combination. Also joining us right down here, we have our good friend Dino. How you doing, brother?
Your mic's try your mic.
Check the mic, check the headset. Well, anyway, also joining us, actually his very first time here on Fantasy Football Fever. Well, for those of you who watch the Four Horsemen of Pick'em on Wednesday night, well, you know who that guy is. That's our big time Steeler fan from the Sunshine State, the one and only Lucas, aka LC Muscles 26 or 28, whatever it is.
LC Muscles 28. What's going on, everybody? Also known as Team America, as my team, the fifth seed. Mason, Rudolph, Say Christmas, the red-nosed reindeer. And with that being said, this is another championship I've been trying to earn. I have been doing fantasy football in general since 2006. So yeah, I started all the way back in 2006 doing fantasy football, and I am trying to go for another championship. So far in all the fantasy football I've done over the years, I have accumulated 9 championships, and I have a chance in one of my leagues this for a Yahoo championship, and then for this one will be another championship on ESPN. So I'm very excited for that. With that being said, I'm in 2 championship games. Let's get started.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Why don't we first let y'all know how we got to this point in our fantasy league right here. We are going to start our matchups here. Our matchup reviews. Let me go ahead and click on mine here. Starting with the matchup between Lucas and Mr. John Flynn. And yeah, as Lucas said before the show, he just whooped up on Mr. Flynn with a final score of 164.98 to 122.72.
It's crazy. It won by over 40 points, man.
Over the team that had the best record in the league, and over the team that scored by far the most points in the league throughout the course of the week. And so, and I mean, every year, this is my problem, and I keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. When will I learn? So, because because I can't seem to emphasize running backs enough. And Travis Etienne and James Cook. So in the big moments, came up with clunkers. And when I was listening to the Bills radio call on my way home from work the other night, so the first play that I heard was a James Cook fumble, and I knew that on the heels of Puka Nacua going off for Lucas, that it was going to be rough sledding, and I only had one player score over 20 points, and that was Russell Wilson, but Lucas had James Conner, Lamar Jackson, who was excellent last night in San Francisco. Of course, Puka Nacua, Jake Elliott with those field goals, and the Jets defense cleaning up against Sam Howell and the Commanders. Told you Sam Howell should have been your sit of the week.
Mm-hmm. Good numbers for Lamar Jackson, James Conner. The Samir White, DK Metcalf always does pretty good. Puka Nacua with a big 33. Zaire Franklin, his defensive player, got 12. Jesse's social teams got 12 and 17 points from Mr. Jake Elliott. Yeah, kind of shocking about Etienne and James Cook, very underachieving. Tyreek Hill, underachieved, but not too terribly bad. Devontae Smith with 17.9. I see Chris Godwin got 13.9. Flynn had the Browns defense special teams getting 12 even. But we got to take a look at what was left on the table for these guys. Let's see here. Well, it's the only ones that stand out for me as far as Lucas's end was his Steelers defense special teams. 15 points left on the bench. His backup quarterback Jared Goff, 16.28. Javonte Williams from the Broncos got 10.9 points in the losing effort to the Patriots. 21 points from Cameron Dicker, the kicker. Cameron Dicker from Texas. Uncle Horns. Uncle Horns. And 14-6 from Mr. Logan Thomas. And meanwhile, on Flynn's side of the board, his bench players, Tyler Algier left 15.8 on the table. Trevor Lawrence, 11.34. Bobby Okereke with 10 even. 15.4 from Adam Hooked on a Feeling. Ooga shaka, ooga, ooga, ooga shaka, ooga.
Yes, I mean, it really didn't matter what combination. Even if I put the best possible lineup combination, which involved starting Tyler Algier and Adam Thielen, I still would have lost by 30 points to Lucas. So congratulations, Lucas. You are going to the championship round in fantasy football fever this year, and you will be taking on Dino. So who kicked butt over Mr. Timothy McClelland?
Yes, he very much did. 136.6 to 107.64 was the final tally in our matchup here. I wanted to keep Jalen Hurts, and he did well for me at 25.44. I say Pacheco a little bit stymied by that Raider defense. Raheem Mostert got him 12. Looking like pretty much almost everyone I had, except for Hurts. Everyone underachieved. Let me see if I would have gotten.
Yeah,
if I was started, I have been so devoted to Sam Laporta for the last few weeks, but he really let me down. And my backup tight end, Dallas Goedert, ended up getting 14.1. And Gabe Davis, I didn't think he was going to do well, but he did very much over his projection at 23 points even. And Jordan Love had 27.96, which is even more than what Jalen Hurts got. So, yeah, I think Davis was probably my make or break guy. Meanwhile, over on Dino's side, got good points from Jake Browning, John Taylor, Cooper Cup, big points from Mike Evans, David Njoku got him some good points there. Singleton, the Broncos defense special teams, and Justin Tucker did pretty well for him. Looking down at his bench players, we saw, Henry. Yeah, Derrick Henry overachieving there with 23.38, 17 from the Ravens special teams. George Kittle, 19.6. Nico Collins, 13.8. Tyjae Spears, 11.7. Khalil Herbert, 19.1. Wow. I mean, look at that. He still beat me, even though he made some pretty good points off of his bench players.
Yeah, but I think it's very smart that Dino has both Derrick Henry and Tyjae Spears, just because in the event that Henry would have gotten hurt, he already would have had Tyjae Spears. If the Titans offense is so committed to running the football, so that you need someone to get the touches. So I think it was a smart idea for Dino to do that. But I think he set Derrick Henry as a reaction to the performance the week prior against Houston, where he only got nine rushing yards on 16 attempts, with less than a yard per carry, which I felt was an overreaction. But and even the projections say to start Derrick Henry over Ty Chandler, but it still would not have mattered in the end that Tim got his butt kicked either way. So that was that.
Yeah, that's right. I think we have a question. We have a fantasy-related question here from George Play 01. I have Broncos and Chiefs defense. Should I drop Chiefs defense for the Rams or Raiders defense?
Oh, the Rams. The Rams are playing the artist formerly known as the New York Football Giants. So if the Rams defense is available,
I'll probably go with the Rams defense.
Yeah, they have a good matchup. Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter if Tommy Cutlets is starting. Doesn't I mean I think Tyrod Taylor would give is the best possible starter for the Giants this week because we knew that the Tommy DeVito story was going to the experiment was going to end soon and it happened it ended the week.
Now you can go back to making pizzas at his family's restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have someone want to say hello. Daniel B. Sports Highlights. Daniel, how you doing?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Tell all your friends about it. Love to some more, bro.
Yeah.
Moving on now to the remainder of the games that were on our schedule. Natale going up against Adam Oliver, and Natale did pretty well. A good whooping on Mr. Oliver here. 163 even to 95.92. Big points from Justin Fields, Good John Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Zay Flowers. I'm telling you, this Zay Flowers, he should be a candidate for AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year. And he got 13 from Bobby Wagner, 9 from the Bills defense special teams, and only 2 points from Dustin Hopkins.
And this is a what could have been for Natale because Natale was poised to go on a big time playoff run, having McCaffrey and Debo and Hawkinson on his team and Bijan Robinson, and he couldn't get it done last week. So Mr. Natale was a lot of what ifs, huh?
Yeah. Bijan and Zay Flowers really screwed up that week.
I mean, Arthur Smith, for that matter, for not seeing Bijan Robinson at all. But but other than and Dak and Tyler Lockett, nothing much to home right about for Adam
Not
either.
much there. Dak Prescott, Garrett Wilson,
For the
and
rest of the
Tyler
consolation.
Lockett. Yeah, let's go to Alex against Casey. Casey won 139 even to 97.94. T. Higgins was pretty good for Casey. Oh, yeah, Amari Cooper. Check this out. 51.5 fantasy points. Are you kidding me? That big game he had in that win over the Texans.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy only had 3.4 points because he lost 8 points on the 4 interceptions he threw last night. We're going to talk about that game in more detail coming up in just a little bit.
Oh yeah, Brock Purdy not playing like he usually did.
And also, Tim, and would you look at this? David won this week.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Didn't he have
because
a
he got
championship last year?
That was Andrew who won.
Yeah, 146.5 to 142.58. Got no points for Deshaun Watson.
So wait, who won? Wait, who won the championship last year?
Andrew, the Georgia Crushers.
Okay.
It was Andrew with a. Yeah.
This time,
this is the first or second year running this one.
Andrew.
Well, this is overall. Like, is this your first or second year doing the Fantasy Football Fever?
I think this is our. This has been more than 3 years now. I think.
Yeah.
It's been
5 or 6.
Yeah.
I got you. I wasn't sure.
It's my second year in this league.
Okay.
Yeah, Natale started this thing about 5 years ago.
I want to say so. Yeah, I believe Lucas might have been in my experimental league the first time around.
I might have been.
Yeah, but it was like my experimental one, maybe like 2016, 2017, something like that. I believe you won that one.
I think I did. That was one of the leagues I won. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so we started this thing about 5 years ago, and then we started doing this show about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this is the second year we're doing. I think the second or third year using StreamYard and live stream.
Maybe we can have 3 divisions next year.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the rest. Yeah, but anyway, you could see how Andrew and David did, and so David will not finish in last place in our league this year, despite having the worst record in our league. So that's for all of that. So now what we're going to do is, now that I have let's take a look now at our playoff brackets because I have that up right now. So, and this is how we got to this point.
Here. Yep, that's how we did it. So in the first round, Lucas took out Adam. Dino took out John Natale. Then in the second round, Lucas took out Flynn. Dino took me out. And that's where we got to right now. Championship matchup. The number 5 seed Lucas against the number 6 seed Dino.
All right, everybody. So now we got Lucas here. We got Dino here. So I'm gonna boot the Johns off for just a second. So Yes. So now Lucas and Dino. So make your cases for why you think you will win this week.
Okay, so Tiny Tim, who you want to go first?
I'll tell you what. Who was the higher seed?
I'm the higher seed.
Okay, Lucas. Okay. All right, Lucas, go ahead. Yeah, why don't we do it like this here? Uh, okay, let's here we go. We're getting so loud here. We'll give you a spotlight on this one. Go.
So go ahead and start off. All right. So the reason why I think I'm going to win the championship this year, there's a few simple reasons to why I think my team has a very good shot at it. Last, we have Lamar Jackson, who is going to be my starting quarterback, and he will be going against Miami, who he had a really good game against last year. He had a fantastic day. They only lost by 4, and he's had absolutely tremendous success against the Dolphins in his 3 matchups. He has had games of 5 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, and then 3 touchdowns last year with no interceptions, very low interception ratio, only 5 sacks allowed, so that's a very good point. Not turning the ball over as much, not fumbling the ball. Very efficient, over 69% completion percentage. Nice. And I think that Lamar Jackson is going to have a really good match, especially because it is at home against the Dolphins. So I'm very excited for Lamar Jackson. James Conner is going to be my starting running back for this week. And he has had some interesting success against the Eagles. He had a really bad game against when he was on the Steelers the last time, though. He did have a rushing touchdown, but only had 15 rushes for 44 yards. And then against Arizona last year, he had 9 rushes for 55 yards, and he also had a receiving reception as well. So he could get it done on the ground and in the air. And I think that the Cardinals, they may be down a little early, but I think realistically, I think they compete with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll talk more about that game later. Javonte Williams is a home favorite against the Chargers, who, even though they have a great game against the Broncos, even though they had a really good game against the Chargers, the Chargers had a good game against the Bills. I think they're going to struggle against the Broncos. I think they're going to struggle against the Broncos on the road. And right now, I do think that Lamar Jackson is going. Not Lamar Jackson. Javonte Williams is going to have a really good chance at him. And when he did play them earlier on in Week 15, he actually had a really good game when he played against them a few weeks ago, because it was a few weeks ago when they played in Los Angeles. They played in Los Angeles on the road and won 24-7. And they had a very impressive thing. Javonte Williams had over 66 rushing yards and a touchdown already. So I think that he's going to get his time in the spotlight, especially if Denver gets an early lead. That's why I like Javonte Williams this week. Then after that, we have, let me pull my next player up, and that is going to be Jamar Chase. The Bengals are probably going to be a dog in this whole game, and they're pretty much going to be down. I think Kansas City, after losing to the Raiders last week, I think they finally get it done on offense, but I think this is an offensive shootout. I think that the defense will do what they can, but the Bengals, especially if they're down behind early, I think they're going to throw Jamar Chase's way, especially if he's healthy to go. Then we got DK Metcalf against the Steelers, and DK Metcalf only had 1 game against the Steelers, and his history, and he had a really good game. I think he only had 3 touchdowns when they went in with Russell Wilson and won. And that was in 2019 when Ben Roethlisberger got hurt. So he had 9 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. He had that in 2019. And then in 2021, he didn't nearly have as good of a game. He still had over 6 catches, though. So he's had a pretty good stretch of games against the Steelers. He'll definitely get some good targets thrown his way, especially because he's been on a touchdown streak as of late. Isaiah Likely against Miami. I like him because Miami does have a very suspect defense. It gives up open routes to tight ends, which could be the bread and butter of Baltimore's offense. Then we have Puka Nacua against the Giants. Even though this game could get out of the way early, I think with Tyrod Taylor, I think that Tyrod Taylor is going to keep the Giants in it somewhat. But in the end, I think the Rams will be able to get Puka Nacua on some good routes, especially if Cooper Kupp's getting a lot of coverage. Then we have Zaire Franklin, who's one of the best tacklers in the league, replacing Shaq Leonard. He's the defensive end on the Colts, and I really like his chances there, especially playing against the Raiders. So I think they'll have a good amount of time on offense. The defense, I'm still struggling. I'm still waiting. Possibly, I could be picking up the Rams defense. If not, I could go with the Steelers defense. We'll see what happens there. And then Jake Elliott against the Arizona Cardinals. I think if the Eagles put up a lot of points, then he'll be front and center getting field goals. He had a really good game on Christmas Day, and I expect him to continue. So that's my lineup, though. And I think right now, I'm going to make it another championship. So let's go ahead and get myself another championship here.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, we will go ahead and we heard from him. If I can get the right controller here. Okay, got here. Now let's go to Dino. Let's look at his lineup and what changes he could make on his team to try to win the championship. Dino, it's all you.
I plan on using Baker Mayfield as my quarterback.
Okay.
Then I got Henry and Taylor running back. I got Kupp, Evans, and as wideout. Kittle for tight end. And I'm using Collins as a flex player. And I got that linebacker from Denver. And I'm going back to the Ravens defense and kicker Justin Tucker.
Sounds interesting. Well, I guess he's got a pretty good lineup right there for his team. So let's go ahead and bring the other guys back in here. Seems like the guys got some pretty good starting lineups for their championships. But of course, anything happens every now and then. So I guess with that being said, do we even bother going with the rest of our matchups for this week? What do you say, Flynn?
Yeah, so we're back here, so we can see now the projections for this current matchup. So we're looking at obviously Lamar Jackson, who has a favorable matchup against Miami. Then Lucas talked about why he likes the matchups with Puka Nacua and DK Metcalf going up against Pittsburgh, Zaire Franklin, and Jake Elliott being the kicker that he is. But this is going to be a very competitive matchup in my opinion, because Dino has been riding, say, a tremendous a group of wide receivers with Kupp, who we wrote out the first part of the season without him due to injury and survived to get there. And there are some matchups there that I really like for him, and which I will mention. And one of them is one of my starts of the week for fantasy. We'll get to that in a little bit, but looking at the benches here, we're looking at that the Dino has 3 spots on his bench that you can pick up on the waiver wire without having to drop anybody. So It's going to be an interesting finish, in my opinion, to our league this year. And our league has had a history of unpredictable winners over the years. So and this is going to be another one of them where a low seed makes a run to a championship, and it's going to be an interesting race there. Now on to the third place match.
What in the world is that? What was that sound?
I have no idea.
It had to have come from Dino. But I digress. Anyway, moving on. So this is the third place matchup in our league, and it's between Dino and Tim.
You mean John and Tim?
Me and Tim. Excuse me. It's me and Tim. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So would you look at how close?
That is insanely close right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0.3.
Yeah, because. Yep. And I'm. Let's see if I have to make any lineup changes. And Trevor Lawrence is questionable. Michael Pittman Jr. is questionable. So, but I don't think I'm gonna need to make any more changes to what I have right now. So this is gonna be the lineup I'm gonna roll with Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, Travis Kelce, hoping for a bounce back from him, Chris Godwin, and all of that. While he's riding with Jalen Hurts, he's got a great matchup against the Cardinals. So he's projected 26.7 points. He's got that Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown stack. He's also got the Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane stack, and the Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice stack. So he's got and the Chiefs defense. So he's got 3 stacks on in one lineup. So how that's gonna.
But also right now, I have actually put in a waiver for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I think a lot. It's gonna depend. It's gonna depend on if he plays. So, but I think he might play. I think that's what's probably gonna wind up happening. Sam, but this is gonna be a good matchup for Zamir White if Josh Jacobs can't go on Sunday. But I think the Raiders are probably going to do everything they can to get him in, because the Raiders, so if they lose to the Colts, they're out.
Yes, they are, man. We'll see what happens, though. It's going to be an interesting week, to say the least.
Yeah, look who says hi.
Alexander. The Great.
Yes, our man Alex Putnam, Pizzolani, the host of Four Horsemen Pick'ems, Wednesday nights, 10 Eastern, 9 Central on his channel. Y'all check it out. It's a good show with him, me, Lucas. And I wish Mac would join us more often, but of course he's got a second shift job, so he can't really join us as much. But he's always with us in spirit, because horsemen always stay together.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So next matchup, we're taking a look at what we look at.
Yeah, we're looking at Adam against Natale. So right now the projection is a 3-point spread with Natale up 132.3 to 129.1 in terms of the current projections that stands right now, and Adam's got the advantages when it comes to Dak Prescott, when it comes to the tight end position. Darren Waller against the Rams defense that's given up a lot of points to opposing tight ends as of late. But those are the two things going for him, while Natale is going to be riding with McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson, and Natale will have to pick a kicker though, because Dustin Hopkins is out on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
He is out, and I do not see another kicker on his bench. So he's going to have to go diving for a pretty good available kicker there.
Yeah, but he could pick any one of them for the time being.
I,
Yeah, yeah, and then, anyway, we're here with David, and we got Casey. These are consolation prizes. This is seventh and eighth place. But I think for Casey, we'll have to see what happens with Brock Purdy. Um, but there are big matchups that, of course, favor David when you look at the wide receivers, and then the last matchup to preview is for ninth and for last place between Putnam and Andrew. And Andrew's and right now Andrew's got advantages on 9 of his 10 positions.
wow. Pretty much almost all the
Yeah.
check marks there. So that's pretty much how our final week of our matchups is going to be going. So yeah, so that's how that goes. So what do we got now, Flynn? We got some hot topics, don't we?
Yeah, so we're gonna go over so now we're gonna be all over the good, the bad, and Sam Howell from the weekend that was in fantasy football. So we're gonna show you because I have a rundown of the best performances of the week for the flex positions and how about the performance by Joe Flacco on Sunday.
Wow. Nice boys. Two touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Boy.
Brees Hall dominated, man.
Yeah, it's because I think that the 12 receptions catapulted him to
Amari
43.1.
That's insane, though.
So, and I always knew Amari Cooper was a great receiver coming out of Alabama, and because the Cowboys couldn't manage their salary cap properly, he was a cap casualty, and he went over to the Cleveland Browns as a result.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see George Pickens had a good day.
George Pickens, man.
It's 6 receptions. I mean, where has George Pickens been all year, Lucas? Tell me as a Steelers fan. I thought this was going to be a great year for George Pickens in year 2 with Kenny Pickett. Oh, I mean, obviously it wasn't Kenny Pickett on Saturday, but still.
It's just been quarterback inconsistencies and just offensive coaching has been a big factor. The offense really has definitely changed a lot ever since Matt Canada was fired. Matt Canada was an absolute disaster of an offensive coordinator, and the offense was never really consistent with him at the helm. And I was actually at Pittsburgh for his last win as a Steelers coach, or probably the last time as an NFL head coach when they beat the Packers 23-19. I was there for that game. So it's going to be interesting to say the least what really happens for George Pickens. I still think he's had a successful season, but he definitely could have had a much, much better year. He's still at over 1,000 yards receiving, but only 5 touchdowns. That is very disappointing, and I think he will get better. I think he's going to get better over time, but some things have to change, and I think having an offensive coordinator will actually be a big factor.
Yeah, and I think we saw, and I was giddy at the way Pickens played down the stretch last season, and of course because the two things that come to mind were the win against the Christmas Eve win against the Raiders on the 50th
Which was amazing.
On the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, and 3 days after Franco Harris passed away, and then the big Sunday night win in Baltimore. So where the Steelers came back and pretty much ended the Ravens' chances of winning the division.
That's right.
Yeah, but and like I was like very excited to hammer home takes about George Pickens, but yes, you are right. Matt kind of torpedoed the whole season with his clueless and out of touch play calling, which was mind-boggling to say the least. And now we get George Pickens seeing what he can do, and then then Puka Nakua, who I infamously had as my sit of the week because I thought Cooper Kupp was going to get a lot of touches against the Saints, but Puka Nakua, of course, delivered for Lucas against me, and Puka Nakua shows how awesome he's been this year, stepping up for Sean McVay.
Yeah, looking at some of those tight ends, of course, we'd see George Kittle having another average day, 7 receptions, 126 yards, 19.6 fantasy points.
Yep, and not a single tight end got over 20 points this week.
Not even a Conquo or even an Ingram there as you listed there on your list.
Yeah,
That's
and
good stuff.
Yeah, and Okonkwo called all 6 of his targets, which is good. But and Evan Ingram has been targeted so much, man. 15 targets for tight end is insane. But he got 10 of them for 95 yards. He lost a couple of points because of a fumble, but Evan Ingram has been a force this year in fantasy at the tight end position. And now we go to the bad here with. So, and these were the three bad performances that stood out to me. And Brock Purdy, who actually faced a legit defense this time, and he turned into a pumpkin.
Man, I don't believe that. 255 yards is great, but 4 interceptions, that is not going to win a game.
No, it's not.
You see Trevor Lawrence had a good day with 211 yards, 1 touchdown, but 2 interceptions.
I see Sam Howell got benched for Jacob.
Yeah. So and Sam. The reason I put this as part of the bad because Sam Howell was the starter, and I knew he was going up against that Jets defense simply was not going to be a fair fight, and he only got 0.2 fantasy points. I mean,
that's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, I'd say be like an ostrich and stick your head in the sand on that one. And we see some running backs that didn't have good days either, especially my man, number 20, Tony Pollard.
38 yards, 1 catch for 5 yards, 5.3 fantasy points, and of course we talked about Travis Etienne and Jared Cook, who might have both of them as bad. Also, Joe Mixon was shut down by the Steelers on Saturday, and then Alvin Kamara only got 19 yards of rushing, but for 5 receptions, which was critical in PPR leagues.
Yeah, we see a couple of wide receivers who didn't perform too well either. Well, see 3 of them: Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Hopkins.
And did you see what happened in the Raider game yesterday for Tim? That Aiden O'Connell had 0 passing yards after the first quarter, and yet they still beat the Chiefs by 6 points.
Unbelievable.
Which is so hysterical.
Oh,
yeah,
totally.
Yeah, and then DJ Moore underperformed, and DeAndre Hopkins underperformed as well. And we have a DeAndre Hopkins truther in here with John Natale, but that was and then the tight ends. I mean, Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, and Darren Waller was a disappointing one to me because he had a couple of great opportunities to pick up like 20 or so yards and a catch late in the game, but he just couldn't hang on to the football. So it was so frustrating watching Waller not being able to complete to make those catches in the end. And then the defense / special teams, the Cowboys only got 1 sack. The Saints couldn't get any big plays defensively, and then the 49ers only three fantasy points. So that was very disappointing on all levels here. But Yeah.
Yeah,
So
very
I think
terrible
this
that
does. Yeah. So I do want to go to some actual football takes, and I do want to start though with Tim, with you, with the Cowboys and how that game transpired.
Well, it was a close game, but the first problem was, and I got to put this guy on blast, our fullback Hunter Lipke. The Cowboys had the ball. I think it was first and goal, second and goal at the 1. Prescott hands the ball off to Lipke, but Lipke doesn't get a good hold on the ball. He fumbles it. Dolphins recover, and they pretty much would go the other way for the score. I mean, hey, he's a young player, but hey, there's something called fundamentals, right? You gotta
Yes.
get the fundamentals down. Attention to detail, you know? You really gotta make sure you got that football. Because I think that was the major difference in that game. Because the Cowboys ended up losing by only 2 points. And if Lepke would have held on to the ball and bust in for the score, I think we'd be having a different result, and I think we'd be having a different discussion. Also, I need to ask your guys' opinion. The roughing the passer call on Micah Parsons. You think
Yeah,
that was fair? You think it was fair or foul?
Didn't like it.
I didn't like it too. I thought it was clean.
Well, I hate to sound. Well, I don't know what the word is, but
Wasn't
I
there-
actually think it was. I think it was. I think it was. I think it was a correct call, but
There was one on the KC quarterback I didn't like either.
on
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes.
And there was also one on Tyrod Taylor called against the Eagles on Tyrod for a hit on Tyrod Taylor, which I thought I thought as a football fan was not great. But I do interrupt that because we do have a fantasy question for you.
Anthony Castillo, how you doing, Anthony? Thanks for watching the show. He's got Indy or Philly for a defense to start.
Yes, so the Colts are going up against the Raiders while the Eagles are going up against the Cardinals. So I don't know, guys.
Definitely
What do you got?
Philly.
What?
I'd probably take the chickens.
The
I take
Philadelphia.
those Philadelphia chickens.
Yeah, the Philadelphia.
Yeah,
but
I would definitely say Philly
I
also.
I'm thinking Indianapolis because Philadelphia's defense has been really bad as of late, and the Cardinals are just a couple weeks ago scored 29 points against the 49ers. So
So you got Philly against Arizona. Who does Indianapolis have?
the Raiders.
All right. That's a toss up for me.
Yeah, but that was one thing. So but on
Definitely
the flip
Philly.
side, yeah, but going back to Dallas and Miami, the flip side of that game was that was a needed win for Miami's confidence because the Dolphins hadn't been a team with a 500 or above record all year until this Sunday. So I took away as I think the Dolphins are ready for the playoffs. I thought they played a gritty game. I thought, but they showed their mental grit. Their defense was outstanding, and I think for a psyche perspective, especially with their matchup looming against Baltimore next week, which will likely decide the 1 seed in the AFC because whoever wins on Sunday will wrap up their division with 1 week to go. So obviously, monster game for both teams. The Ravens will clinch home field throughout the playoffs if they win. on Sunday, while the Dolphins will clinch their division with the win, and they will be and with the win against Buffalo next week, they will be the 1 seed in the AFC if they get the job done against Baltimore. So that's gonna be a monster matchup. But can we guys talk about what happened last night with the Ravens and the 49ers? I mean, my goodness.
Wow.
That was surprising to say the
I
least.
thought it was going to be much closer than what it became.
Wishing I started the Ravens defense.
No, Brock Purdy. We just mentioned Brock Purdy in the hot topics. He had a terrible night. 4 interceptions. I think that was probably his worst performance as a starter.
Yeah, and most definitely because and Brock Purdy is still trying to show that he is that in this league he can go up against great defenses, but this was something that I found I think what was this on late last week, but since the bye week, so here are the defenses that Brock Purdy faced, and this is in terms of yards per play allowed. So they played Jacksonville 28th, Tampa 25th, Seattle twice 23rd, the Chickens 22nd, and the Cardinals 29th, and then they play the Ravens, who are first. And the other top defenses the 49ers faced were the Cowboys, which they won, and then but then on the road in Cleveland lost, at Minnesota lost, and then a Ravens team playing with McCaffrey, with Debo, with Ayuk, with Trent Williams, and now Trent Williams might not be able to go on Sunday for his first game for a revenge game against Washington. That might be a problem too, because now San Francisco's offensive line has some issues with that. We do have another question though from the viewers.
All right.
So.
We have a guy named Brad joining us. Thanks for watching, buddy. He's got Pollard, Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor, Zeke Elliott. He can start 2 in a PPR league.
So we got Pollard against the Lions. We got Kenneth Walker against Pittsburgh. We got Jonathan Taylor against the Raiders.
Taylor and Pollard.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing too. And I think especially if Dallas is going to be in a shootout with Detroit, I think that's why I might lean towards Tony Pollard and Jonathan Taylor, because I think you might get the majority of the runs with this happening.
I do not like Zeke going up against that Bills defense.
Going with Taylor and Walker.
I would say Jonathan Taylor and Tony Pollard.
Taylor and Pollard, I guess that would probably be the majority of our decisions there.
And then Dashy says, "Ooh, banana." In the chat.
But we don't have it. Only Alex has it. We don't have it. Sorry,
Banana.
Dashy. We don't have it. Only Alex does. So you'll have to catch the show tomorrow night to see the famous banana. All right. Anyway, okay. So let's talk about this.
Who will slip on the banana this week? Probably.
Hey, that could be a nice segment there. Let's give a huge congratulations to the Detroit Lions. First division championship since Bill Clinton was president.
In 1993.
That's insane to think
wow,
about.
Going back, that was
30 years.
That was 1 year. Believe it or not, people, this was 1 year after I graduated high school.
That's actually crazy to think about.
Now we need to have Jacksonville and the Lions in the Super Bowl. So everyone.
Yeah, so Detroit Lions, well deserved. They can breathe a little bit easier now. They can put the demons of the past behind them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
of course, Detroit. But let's see, Detroit has Dallas this week, and then let's see. Let me look up the Lions. They got Dallas on Saturday.
yeah, and then the following week they're home against the Vikings to finish up the season.
And home against the Vikings.
Yeah.
I could maybe see them going 1-1 for the last two games.
Yeah.
I'll see the Cowboys beat the Lions, but I could probably see them beating Minnesota at home.
Yeah, and the thing is, if the Lions do wind up winning their last two games, they'll be no worse than the 2 seed.
Number 2 seed. I mean, wow. All these years of futility have just seemed like they're washed away, but we'll just see how they do in the playoffs here.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, and how about the job that
I think Eagle fans have just become Lion fans.
It's but I think there's so many casual fans of teams not in the playoffs just rooting for the Lions, especially if their teams are going up against rival teams of theirs. So that's gonna be great. But I do want to have a conversation though about the Lions because the way the Lions constructed their roster, I thought we were going ballistic on draft night about how the Lions went about their draft process and their methodology for the draft, but what the Lions did over the last couple of years was shore up their offensive line, shore up their defensive line, have a quarterback who can play mistake-free football, and then pounce on opportunities to draft skill players, which they did with Jahmyr Gibbs, what they did with Sam Laporta, and what they did with linebacker Jack Campbell. That all those guys have come up big this season for the Detroit Lions, and Brad Holmes deserves so much credit, and just the vision that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell shared. It created such a nice fusion, which led to the Lions getting to this point because we knew something was brewing in the second half of last season where the Lions got off to a slow start, a 1-6 start, and then they rallied to win 8 of their last 10 games. They wound up missing the playoffs due to tiebreakers, but still we knew that something special was going to happen next season, and the way that the players are bought into the culture, the way the team is willing to bite kneecaps for Dan Campbell, hearsay, but the thing I am worried about for the Lions is what is their ceiling defensively, because if the Lions do go up against San Francisco, if it is 49ers Lions on Championship Sunday, I think the 49ers are going to mop the floor on them because the Lions have questions with their defense. However, that they may be getting back C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who was their prize, the free agent pickup for the secondary, and I thought that, and I had to lower the ceiling a little bit, but Dan Campbell did talk to the press today and said that C.J. Gardner-Johnson could make his season debut against the Cowboys on Saturday night on ABC. So that would be massive. If he can play at not only play come back and play, but play at the level he did with the Philadelphia Eagles from last year. So that's gonna be a monster for the Lions. But so I think that's what I really have with the Lions, but the offense has been playing great. They figured out something after the loss against Chicago. They scored 42 points against Denver and now 30 points against Minnesota, and now against the Cowboys defense that might have a couple of weaknesses to exploit. It should be a fun matchup on Saturday night.
Yeah, of course, I'll be definitely looking forward for that. That's Saturday night, 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central, I believe. That game is on, ABC and ESPN.
Yes, so that means you're going to get Joe Buck and Troy Aikman for that game.
Otherwise, other words, Beavis and Butthead. But of course, I'd rather have, if it was on first,
Yes.
I'd have like Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson, or maybe even Joe Davis and Gerald Johnston, aka.
Yeah.
Well, y'all don't remember Daryl Johnston's nickname?
Moose.
Moose.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Moose. And I still don't know why that guy is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Because I mean, if it wasn't for Daryl Johnston, Emmitt Smith would not be the NFL's all-time leading rusher. That's just my opinion. Anyway, what else do we got to talk about?
So I think picking back off to the Ravens and the 49ers for 4 minutes. So can we all say right now that the Ravens are the best team in football and the favorite to win Super Bowl 58 right now?
Right now,
Right now, maybe.
Natalie, what do you think?
Possibly.
I mean, the way the Ravens defense played.
Yeah, I think it's very possible.
Yeah, I think given how well coached they are, because both teams just showed how well coached they are. But I think so. But I still think San Francisco is the team to beat in the NFC because none of the playoff contenders in the NFC has to have a defense so that can slow down San Francisco. So I think because we saw that with Philly, we saw that with Dallas on the road. We saw that. I mean, although Dallas, I think could make it could have a competitive game against San Francisco, but I think the Lions are going to be limited defensively if CJ Gardner-Johnson can't give them anything with the secondary. So I still think San Francisco is the team to beat the NFC, but man, the Ravens with that defense and the way the Ravens have been smothering winning ball clubs this year has just been something to behold. And like I think they played seven 500 or greater teams this year. As 7 wins have been greater by 14 points. 14 points or greater.
Yeah. And who knows? It could be the Ravens and the 49ers in the Super Bowl in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that could very well be.
Yeah. So what do we do now?
It's your time, Timmy.
Oh yes, it's time for Tim's Tough Trivia. Although I'm not sure if some of y'all were paying attention. I think it was Sunday. If y'all are paying attention Sunday, then you might know the answer to this one. But of course, I'll ask the question. Then at the end of the show, we'll get the answer. So, question is.
microphone went off. Question is, microphone went off for $200. There we go. Much better.
I'm back now. We got now. Okay. So as we mentioned, this past Sunday, Amari Cooper became only the second receiver in history to have at least 200 receiving yards in one game with 3 different franchises. He did it first with the Raiders, he did it with the Cowboys, and now he's done with the Browns. So, I guess y'all probably figure out what the question is.
Who's the other receiver?
Who's the first? Who was the first receiver?
Yeah, I might have an idea on that.
In 3 different franchises.
Yeah,
What you want to think about?
yeah. This might go in a couple of different directions.
I have an idea.
I have a guess. Can I guess, Tiny Tim?
Well, I'll tell you what. Just hold on to that until the end of the show, and we'll go ahead and. Well,
I don't know if I'm gonna be
ahead.
around for the whole show though, man. I'm exhausted.
All right. Well, go ahead and give us your pick. Who do you think it was?
All right, I think it's personally Randy Moss.
So we'll see who's gonna be right about that. So I was thinking the same thing. Yes, that's my guess too.
Who was that?
Yep.
So Randy Moss.
See, I think it was Randy Moss. I know you got a guess. Looks like he is a very deep thought here.
Yes, I think he is.
Anyway, while y'all think about that question, we have another question here.
Ooh.
This is from Inflexitive 2K. I don't know what it is. Shall I start Chiefs D or stream Jags, Rams, Texans, or Seahawks? Well, let's see.
That's a lot to digest.
Yeah. Let's
see here. The Chiefs are going against the Bengals. Yeah. Go ahead, Flynn.
Yeah, because we got Jacksonville against Carolina. We got the Rams against the New York Football Giants. We got the Houston Texans going up against the Tennessee Titans. And we got Seattle going up against Pittsburgh.
Wow, that's it's kind of a mouthful here. I have no idea.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's a very, very intriguing question. Man, we got that there. I don't know why my camera is frozen. I may have to leave the studio and come back here. Let me stop my queue and see what happens.
But actually, what we can do while Tim is away, we can show you. We can here's a message from the Four Horsemen of Pick'em crew with their show coming up tomorrow night.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby!
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
All right, everybody. The crew is going to be back in just a couple of minutes. And while you're all waiting for the guys to come back, I'm going to be doing my stardoms and situms for the week. So let's start with my starting quarterback of the week. I'm going to be going with Nick Mullins of the Minnesota Vikings as my start of the week because Nick Mullins has had over 700 yards passing over the last couple of weeks, which is quite interesting, to say the least. But Nick Mullins, yes, there's gonna be no T.J. Hawkinson because of the ACL and MCL injuries. There probably won't be Jordan Addison either. So, but still, if you look at objectively at the Packers, I think that there are favorable matchups, and knowing that the offense can keep going, especially when you have Justin Jefferson being able to get 18 targets and being able to mix up running the football with Madison, Chandler, and others. So I think Nick Mullins is going to have another 300-yard passing game. I think he's going to have 2 touchdowns for the Minnesota Vikings in their matchup against the Packers on Sunday. And as I mentioned, I might have mentioned this before, but the Packers have a lot of issues defensively, and Joe Barry is probably going to be fired at the end of the season as defensive coordinator. My starting running back of the week is going to be an interesting one, and I'm going to go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire of the Cincinnati Bengals facing the Cincinnati Bengals as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, because Isaiah Pacheco is in concussion protocol, and it is unlikely that he's going to be clearing protocol in times. And knowing that the Chiefs have a lack of trust in their wide receivers, I think they're gonna go to what they're capable of doing, and that's running the football here. So I really like what this team like this matchup if they go for it, and I think this is going to be a good matchup for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. My starting wide receiver of the week is going to be Nico Collins of the Houston Texans. Now, looks like I thought Collins had a solid week last week, and he's got a favorable matchup against a depleted Titans secondary. So I think Collins is going to go for 7 receptions. I think 100 yards and a touchdown. So I think that's a good solid 20 points right there. So Nico Collins is my starting wide receiver of the week, and knowing that Tank Dell is not out there for the Texans, I think that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Stroud or whoever, but I think that's a good start for wide receivers. My starting tight end of the week is going to be Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys. The Lions have given up a lot of points against tight ends this year, and knowing this is going to be probably a shootout between the Cowboys and the Lions, I think Jake Ferguson is going to benefit from targets. So I think he has a touchdown. I think he has 5 catches. I think he's going to have 60 or 70 yards receiving. So Jake Ferguson is my starting wide receiver of the week. My defense/special teams of the week is the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns are going up against the Jets, and that's simply not a fair matchup. And I think that the Jets scoring 30 against Washington is quite deceiving, and so I think the Browns are going to be all over Zach Wilson and that horrendous offensive line that the Browns have. And my starting kicker of the week is Jake Moody of the San Francisco 49ers going up against Washington. I think there's going to be a lot of cases where the 49ers are going to be kicking field goals in this one, so I think Jake Moody is going to have 3 or 4 field goals for the 49ers. Now, as for my sit of the week, my starting sit of the week is Tua Tagovailoa going up against the Ravens. I guess Tua has not fared well against good defenses all year. The Ravens team, the best that he's seen all year, is going to be no exception to that. Tua Tagovailoa, I think is going to have less than 15 points on Sunday going up against the Ravens. Although Tua did have an outstanding performance against the Ravens last year with that 6 touchdown performance, but this Ravens team over the last 2 seasons has been especially the defense is a lot different than the one he saw a year and a half ago. So I'm sitting Tua Tagovailoa. My running back sit of the week is going to be Khalil Herbert of the Chicago Bears. Now, the problem with him is that he's had 3 good games all year. First game was against the Broncos. The second game was against the Commanders. The third game was against the Arizona Cardinals. All of those run defenses are terrible. And the Falcons have given up the second fewest points to opposing running backs in fantasy football this season. So Khalil Herbert is an easy sit this week. My wide receiver sit of the week is going to be Davante Adams of the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think the quarterback confidence has been shot right now for the Raiders, and Davante Adams, who's obviously frustrated. I think he's mailed it in as a member of the Raiders, so I think it's going to be a bad matchup for him because the targets are going to be off, and he's facing the Colts defense that ranks 7th in points allowed to opposing wide receivers. My tight end sit of the week is Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills going up against the New England Patriots. The Patriots have given up the 3rd fewest points to tight ends in PPR settings this season in fantasy, and they've only given up 2 touchdowns all year to opposing tight ends. One of them was last week, so I think it's going to be a correction to the norm. I think it's going to be warranted this week. I'm going to be saying Dalton Kincaid if I had him from the Bills. My sit-em defense of the week is the Dallas Cowboys going up against the Detroit Lions. I think because it's going to be a shootout and the Lions do a great job of protecting the football, I don't think the Cowboys are going to get the opportunities to create interceptions and touchdowns like they have for earlier on in the season. So that's going to be my sit of the week, and my sitting kick my kicker sit of the week is going to be Evan McPherson of the Bengals. The Bengals are obviously in dire straits, and I think this is going to be a case where the Bengals are going to need to score touchdowns going up against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Very interesting list you got there, Flynn, and I think you may have given me a little advice on the running back position, because if I'm not mistaken, I have both Pacheco and Edwards-Helaire on my fantasy squad, and like I said, I've got a waiver claim waiting to see if I can get Josh Jacobs, so we'll just have to monitor all three of those guys.
And do you have Zamir White, or does somebody else have him?
I think someone else has Zamir White.
I think that's Lucas.
He has them already.
Lucas.
Lucas has them.
Yes, but of course, if Zamir White is the one that gets the bulk of the carries, I think that's a good matchup for him.
All righty then. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and go to Week 17 of the National Football League, and let's go to our spreads, matchups, and who we got for our picks.
Oh, you want to do that? You want to do that now?
Well, I guess since Lucas had to leave,
sure. Why not? Let's.
Yeah, Lucas had to leave, so let's go ahead and do this round. Last week,
sleep with his pillow.
Looks like Flynn and I finished ahead of Natale. We both went 11-5. Natale went 8-8. Against the spread, I went 8-8, while Natale and Flynn went 7-9. So for the season, as far as our straight up picks, I still have the lead, 154.86. Flynn is behind with 151.89, and Natale with 148.92. So far against the spread for the season, I have the advantage, 126, 110, and 4. Natale is 125, 111, and 4, and Flynn has 122, 114, and 4. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get to our matchups this week. The first matchup, where's my there it's right down here below me. Yeah. We've got Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. We have the Cleveland Browns hosting the New York Jets. Cleveland is picked by 7. All three of us, Flynn, Natale, and myself, have the Browns winning and covering. Next game is a Saturday night special on ESPN. The Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys picked by 6.5. And we actually all have the Cowboys winning and covering.
So
we have the Cowboys winning, but we also have the Lions covering, because I think we're all thinking the same thing. This will be a much closer game than what they expected to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dallas going up against a quality opponent, but Dallas is home. If the game was in Detroit, I could not stress enough how much I love the Lions to win, but games in Dallas, Cowboys are 7-0 at home.
So I guess I hear 8. Undefeated at home. And I think they may win a road game the following week against the Commanders to close out the season. We have Miami Dolphins going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are picked by 3.5. Flynn and I are going with the Ravens. Meanwhile, Natale is going with the Dolphins.
I think the Dolphins are hungry. They want that number 1 seed. And that, folks, is my
Upset special.
Ooh, kind of a very kinky pick there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see your reasoning. I mean, the Dolphins did very well against the Cowboys last week, and they're just really chomping at the bit to grab that top seed from the Ravens. We'll just see what happens with that one.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Buffalo Bills at home against the New England Patriots. We have the Bills picked at 11.5. And all three of us have the Bills winning and covering on that one.
Yep, and Tim, and that, my friend, is my lock of the week.
So we have Flynn locking the Bills this week. And we are all in agreement with the Bears taking a victory over the Falcons.
Yeah. And this one's also my garbage game of the week.
Yeah, and the Falcons have been atrocious on the road all year.
Yeah. Technically, I had a different one, but Tim thought of it before I did. I didn't want to take the same thing. Well, we'll get into Tim's later.
All right. We all have Houston at home picked by 3.5 over the Titans. We have Natale and myself having the Texans winning and covering. Flynn is taking the Titans with the points.
Yeah, I mean it's division game. I'm just guarding against the overtime situation. Look, so.
Okay. So see that happening there. Next, we have the Raiders heading to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Colts are 3.5 favorites actually. Flynn has the Colts. Oh, is that no? Well, it's just 3 points. Usually, it's 3.5 to count it as an upset special. Meanwhile, Natalia and I are taking the Colts to win and cover on that one.
I said both of you took the Raiders.
Yeah, this is a must-win game for the Raiders. I think they're going to do it.
Yeah, but also a must-win game for the Colts because it feels like the only way the Colts are going to make the playoffs is if they win the division, and right now it's a 3-team race between the Jaguars, the Colts, and the Texans.
Yeah, and speaking of the Jaguars, they're picked at home by 7 points, going up against probably one of the biggest disappointment of the year, the Carolina Panthers. We are all in agreement that the Jaguars will win. I have them winning straight out with the Flynn having the Panthers covering the spread.
But Jaguars are a bit of a mess right now, so I think the Panthers are going to make it interesting.
And the Panthers have been playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah, pretty good there. We have the Rams and the Giants. Giants are at home, and the Rams are picked by 6.5. We all have the Rams winning and covering, and I should mention the Rams are my lock of the week. Locking up those sheep against those dwarfs. Next on the list, we have the Philadelphia Chickens going against the Arizona Canaries, and Philadelphia's 10.5 point favorites. We all have the Eagles winning. However, Flynn has the Cardinals covering.
Is that I think the Cardinals can put up a lot of points, and also this is Jonathan Gannon's return to Philadelphia. His first game back since leaving as Eagles defensive coordinator, right? And the Eagles surely missed both Shane Steichen, who was the Colts coach, and Jonathan Gannon, who called a great defense coach.
So we're all picking the Eagles on that one. We have an NFC South showdown as the Saints heading over to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Bucks are picked by 2.5. We are all picking the Bucks to win and cover, but this one right here, the Saints and the Bucks, this is my garbage game of the week.
Yeah, and also I believe if the Bucks win this game, they're NFC South champions, which nobody would thought would happen this season.
Nobody saw that coming. But we do see one thing coming here. We got the San Francisco 49ers traveling over to our nation's capital to take on the Commanders. We are all in agreement with 49ers winning. However, it looks like Natale and Flynn is taking the Commanders with the points.
Yeah, I think that was a little too aggressive right there.
Yeah, but I mean the 49ers offensive line has question marks without Trent Williams. So
next, we have the Seattle Seahawks are at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seahawks pick about 3.5. We're all in agreement that the Seahawks will take this one. Flynn is taking the Steelers with points.
Yep, and I'm taking the underdog with the points too in the next game.
That's the Broncos against the Chargers. That's in Denver. Denver is picked by 5.5. We're all taking Denver. Flynn taking the Chargers with points on that one. The next one here. This one here, Bengals at Chiefs. Chiefs are at home. Chiefs are 7-point favorites. Flynn and Natale have the Chiefs winning, but the Bengals covering. Meanwhile, I asked at the beginning of the show, do we not trust the receiving core for the Chiefs? They lead the league in drop passes, and they had a few more it was yesterday against the Raiders. I just feel that the Bengals really have the better mojo in this one. So the Bengals are my upset of the week right here. So we'll see how that goes. And lastly, Sunday night game is an NFC North matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is picked at home by 1.5. Flynn and I are taking the Vikings to win and cover, while Natale is actually picking the Packers to win this one.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a very uphill battle with Hawkinson having his surgery done for the year, and there's a possibility that Jordan Addison might not play either.
You know, which you talked about, but I still think Nick Mullins against that Packers defense is so susceptible to big plays, and having a quarterback, and I think a quarterback with Mullins, with that offensive line, and with Justin Jefferson against that beleaguered secondary, I think those are great matchups for him.
Mm.
For them.
And we just had a message on the private chat from Dino. Dino's lock of this week is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very, very interesting there. I don't know about that one. We'll just have to see what happens on Sunday when those Steelers go up against those Seahawks.
We'll go with the same score, 2017.
2017. He's going with the same score as Flynn. Well, we're just going to have to see what happens. Some very interesting matchups this week in the NFL. So now, since Lucas is not here, too bad he had to leave early, but he was very tired, had a very long day. It's time to answer Tim's Tough Trivia, of course.
It's got some Sprite there, Sprite lemonade.
Yeah, now the question was,
Nice.
So the question was, Amari Cooper was the second receiver in NFL history to have a 200-plus yard game with 3 different franchises, the Raiders, Cowboys, and now the Browns. The question was, who was the first wide receiver to accomplish that feat?
See, I think we all went with Randy Moss.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
you
Andre
all went
Johnson.
with Randy Moss. So Randy Moss, I will say Randy Moss is a good guess.
I award you no points,
Well,
and
Andre
may God
Johnson.
have mercy on your soul.
We have stumped our panel again. The first receiver
How
to
about Andre
accomplish that
Johnson?
feat. How about another Hall of Famer?
Oh,
Terrell Owens.
oh, Terrell Owens.
Terrell
Oh, that's
Owens.
the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Eagles.
Well, actually, it's his first game was in 2000 when he was with the Niners playing against the Bears. He had 283 yards on that one. The next time it happened was in 2008 when he was with the Cowboys. Had 213 yards against the Niners. And then 2010 when he was playing for the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Cleveland Browns, he scored 222 receiving touchdowns there. So that is your answer. It was Terrell Owens.
No, we got another fancy question that just came in.
Oh,
Another fantasy question. Let's take a look at that one here. From Jelly of the Month. I will not ask any questions about that name. Let's just go ahead and see about this one. Need a streamer. Baker Mayfield versus New Orleans. Not sure Lattimore plays. Or Jordan Love versus Minnesota on Sunday night.
Baker.
Yeah, I would have to go with Baker Mayfield also.
Yeah,
Don't think they're fighting for a playoff spot, let alone the division.
Yeah, and also you can't trust Jordan Love in big spots.
No, you really can't. I would have to go with Baker Mayfield against New Orleans. I mean, that seems like a more of a spread because Green Bay against Minnesota, it's going to be kind of tight. That's going to be a little bit more loose with Baker. So I guess if you wanted our opinion, go with Baker Mayfield. That'll probably be your best bet. So thanks for the question. Thanks for watching. You know what Dino say? Putting 2 teams in Super Bowl, only pick 2 teams using backup quarterbacks. I don't know about that, but like I said, the Ravens and 49ers from last night could be a Super Bowl matchup right there.
Yeah, and there's also no way that the 49ers are going to turn the ball over 5 times in a game. If they meet up again, but I think if you look more closely at the Niners and the Ravens last night, when you eliminate the turnovers, I thought San Francisco played not too badly, but although the one thing I do not understand was they were down by 14. They were driving down the field. They had a goal-to-go situation, and they couldn't get a touchdown before the 2-minute warning, and then Sam Darnold took a sack, which was mind-numbing. But believe it or not, the 49ers had 429 yards of total offense last night, while the Ravens had 343. So if the 49ers clean up the turnovers against the quality opponents, maybe we have a different conversation.
Yeah, very good. Dash, you want to come in? I want my revenge on the Chiefs this week, and I'm going to get it. You know what they say about payback.
Yep.
Yeah, we know what they say about revenge. Revenge is a dish best served cold.
Yeah.
And it probably will be pretty cold at a GEHA Stadium GEHA Field at Arrowhead. I guess that's what they call it. So,
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see right there. And so, with that, I think we can go ahead and put a wrap on this edition of Fantasy Football Fever. Want to wish the best of luck to Dino and Lucas. Get your rosters ready because it's going to be a show.
Yeah.
To kind of paraphrase Terrell Owens right there. So, and by the way, this of course is our final show of the year 2023. And we do have a programming note. Starting next week, we will be coming to you Friday nights at the same time. So y'all check us out. Friday night. What we got here?
I wanted to show the matchup between Dino and Lucas one more time.
One more time. Take a good look, folks.
Yep.
Yep, there you see the difference. Just 9/10 of a point separate those two right now. But they do have a few days before the matchup gets going. So next week, we will preview Week 18. And we will officially crown our 2023 Fantasy Football Fever Fantasy League champion.
Yes.
And once again, I want to say we will be with you starting next Friday. We're moving Fridays starting next week, which is the 5th. The 5th of January, 2024. So y'all be sure to check your calendars, mark your calendars, because we're moving to Fridays. This is our final show of 2023. So I got to ask, you guys got any plans to bring in 2024?
Not much on my end.
Not really. Just the same thing I always get. Like maybe like time with friends, family. Good food, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be heading out to my favorite karaoke bar. Have a couple of drinks, sing some songs, ring in the new year with people that don't even know, some people that do know. So that'll be all right. Dino, you doing anything?
On Friday or?
No, are you doing anything for New Year's Eve?
Not much other than picking up food, probably.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. Well, anyway, we'll go ahead and close the show. Wait a minute, we got another comment here from who?
Yeah,
Dashy. That's right, Dashy. New Year's almost here. Yeah. So it's been a great year for us. 2023 has been great, and I just can't wait to see.
Yeah, and I'm going to drop the ball on Lucas.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. So if any of y'all go out on New Year's Eve, remember, don't drink and drive. There's a designated driver, because we want you all to come back and see us next year. Next Friday, first show of 2024. Don't forget John Flynn with Hooked on Sports. He's got that going on. And we'll be back on next Friday. We'll crown our champion, wrap up the season, get ready for the Hooked on Sports with Flynn, and we will definitely get ready for the NFL playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yep. We have a championship. This week. And we got NFL playoffs coming up in about a couple of weeks. So y'all get ready. So I want to thank Lucas for joining us. Don't forget, Lucas will be with us tomorrow night on A Pistol 90 channel for the Four Horsemen Pick'ems. Y'all be sure to catch us then. Catch us next Friday. So I guess with that, we will now go ahead and wrap up this show. For John Flynn, for John Natale, for our friend Dino, and for myself, and for Lucas, I'm Tim McClelland. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Enjoy the games. Good night. God bless you all. And as always, be good. Happy New Year, everyone.